How Chimpanzees in the Savannah Reveal the Origins of Human Bipedalism. Evolution Insights. What if the answer to walking on two legs lies not in the open savanna, but in the treetops? A groundbreaking study on modern chimpanzees is shaking up long-held theories about how and why our ancestors abandoned climbing for bipedalism. For decades, scientists assumed that the spread of grassy plains forced early humans to adapt to walking upright. But this new research suggests that tree dwelling might have played a far more critical role in shaping our evolutionary path than previously thought. And it's sparking debates that challenge the very foundations of paleoanthropology. But here's where it gets tricky. What if the key to understanding human evolution isn't just about leaving the trees behind, but about how we use them even as we walked on the ground? And this is the part most people miss. The study's findings could redefine what we know about the survival strategies of early hominins. Let's dive in. Picture this. A landscape where forests and open grasslands blur into a patchwork of thick rivering woodlands and sparse savanna. This is the Isa Valley in Tanzania, home to a chimpanzee community that spends more time in trees than you might expect, even though they live in an environment traditionally linked to the rise of bipedalism. Researchers observed that these chimps climb trees not just for shelter, but to access the most nutritious and abundant foods, like fruits and flowers clinging to the ends of branches. This behavior mirrors what scientists suspect about early hominins, that their ability to navigate trees efficiently might have been as vital to survival as walking on two legs. The catch? This challenges the dominant theory that bipedalism emerged solely as a response to life on the open savanna. Could it be that climbing trees and walking upright co-evolved, with tree-dwelling adaptations actually influencing the development of bipedalism? Dr. Drummond-Clarke, lead author of the study and researcher at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology, puts it plainly. We've long assumed that walking upright began because our ancestors had to traverse open spaces. But our findings show that even in a savanna-like habitat, tree navigation remains a key survival strategy for large tree-dwelling apes. The study tracked how Isa Valley chimpanzees forage during the dry season. When food is scarce in the open woodland, they discovered that these chimps spend significant time in trees, especially in larger ones with dense canopies offering the most food. Why? Because accessing those calorie-rich fruits requires advanced climbing skills, and the chimps are willing to invest the time and energy to reach them. It's a trade-off, explains Drummond-Clarke. The more nutritious the food, the more effort it takes to get it. But when the reward is worth it, they'll climb higher and stay longer. But how does this relate to human evolution? The study suggests that early hominins might have used similar strategies. Imagine a scenario where our ancestors were still climbing trees for food, even as they began walking on the ground. Could those tree-based movements, like balancing on branches or using hands to stabilize while standing, have laid the groundwork for bipedalism? Modern chimpanzees in the Isa Valley use bipedalism in the trees to reach food, holding onto branches for balance, says Drummond-Clarke. If this is true for them, it's logical to think our early relatives did the same. Tree-dwelling adaptations might have enabled bipedalism, not hindered it. This flips the script on the traditional narrative, suggesting that climbing and walking upright were not mutually exclusive but part of a shared evolutionary toolkit. Yet the study isn't without its caveats. The research focused on a single chimpanzee community during the dry season, leaving questions about how their behavior changes when food is more abundant in the wet season. We need to analyze the nutritional value of their diet across seasons to see if this foraging strategy is consistently energy efficient, Drummond-Clarke notes. And we need to study more chimpanzee populations in similar habitats to determine if these patterns are universal or unique to Isa. This raises a provocative question. If the study's findings don't hold up in other populations, Does that weaken the link between tree dwelling and human evolution? Or does it suggest that early hominins were more adaptable than we realize, using trees in diverse ways depending on their environment? So what does this mean for our understanding of human origins? The study invites us to reconsider the role of trees in our evolutionary story. Could it be that the shift to bipedalism wasn't a sudden leap to the ground, but a gradual adaptation that allowed our ancestors to thrive in both trees and open spaces? As Drummond-Clarke concludes, the idea that arboreal living shaped early human evolution is still controversial, but our research adds a compelling piece to the puzzle. And that's where the real debate begins. Do you think our ancestors spent more time in trees than we've assumed? Could tree climbing have been the hidden catalyst for walking on two legs? Share your thoughts in the comments. This is a conversation worth having. Why did early hominins climb trees? New study reveals insights into human evolution. Unraveling the mystery. Why did our ancestors keep climbing trees? Did you know that our early hominin ancestors, despite their ability to walk upright, never truly left the trees behind? New research on chimpanzees has shed light on this intriguing question, offering a fascinating glimpse into our evolutionary past. The study, published in Frontiers in Ecology and Evolution, focused on chimpanzees in the Isa Valley, Tanzania. Researchers aim to understand why our human ancestors, who had already mastered bipedalism, continued to climb trees. Dr. Rihanna Drummond-Clarke, from the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology, challenges the long-held assumption that bipedalism emerged solely due to the need to walk across open savannas. Drummond-Clarke's previous research suggested that chimpanzees in woodland environments spent just as much time climbing trees as their forest-dwelling counterparts. This finding raises an important question. What drove our early hominin ancestors to maintain their tree-climbing adaptations? But here's where it gets controversial. The lack of fossil evidence makes it challenging for scientists to fully understand the lives of early hominins. However, the Isa Valley, with its open woodland habitat and similarities to the diet and habitat of early hominins, provides a unique window into the past. Observing chimpanzees in the Isa Valley may hold the key to unlocking the secrets of our extinct hominin relatives. Drummond-Clarke explains, "We wanted to test if something about their foraging behavior could explain their unexpectedly high arboreality." Arboreality refers to an animal's ability to live and spend time in trees, and this study focused on how chimpanzees adapted to forage efficiently in a tree-sparse environment. The researchers observed chimpanzees during the dry season, recording their diet and foraging techniques. They noted that the chimpanzees commonly fed on fruit, leaves, and flowers, which often grew at the ends of branches, requiring climbing skills for safe access. Drummond-Clarke adds, "Here we show that navigating the canopy safely and effectively remains crucial for a large semi-arboreal ape, even in open habitats. Adaptations to arboreal living may have been key in shaping the early evolution of the human lineage, and this is the part most people miss." Chimpanzees were often observed on thin branches, too narrow for their size. Instead of climbing, they either hung underneath or stood upright, holding nearby branches for support. This behavior suggests that our early hominin relatives may have also engaged in a unique form of bipedalism, using branches for balance while walking on the ground. So, what does this mean for our understanding of human evolution? While the study provides valuable insights, more research is needed. Drummond-Clarke emphasizes, this study only looked at foraging behavior during the dry season. Future studies of other chimpanzees in similar dry, open habitats are crucial to determine if these patterns are a savannah-mosaic signal or unique to Isa. What are your thoughts on this intriguing aspect of human evolution? Do you think our early ancestors' tree-climbing habits played a significant role in shaping our species? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Why chimps risk everything for treetop meals in the open savanna? Human evolution insights. Why chimpanzees take risks for tree food in a sparse environment. chimpanzees residing in Tanzania's Isa Valley are challenging long-standing beliefs about the reasons our ancestors descended from the trees. In the midst of open savanna woodlands, these chimps dedicate a significant portion of their time to climbing trees, engaging in precarious ascents and agile maneuvers to access fruits, seeds, and leaves that are often found on slender branches. A recent study indicates that their daring tree foraging may shed light on what early human ancestors retained their climbing abilities even after adapting to bipedal locomotion. Chimps climbing in open spaces. The Isa Valley, characterized by its fragmented forests and arid woodlands, is believed to mirror the habitat where early hominins once thrived. Observations reveal that these chimpanzees, akin to some of their ancient relatives, continue to exhibit extensive climbing behavior. They frequently forage in tall trees with broad crowns, either hanging from or walking upright along branches to reach their food sources. Dr. Drummond-Clarke from the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology states, "For many years it was presumed that bipedalism developed because we descended from the trees and needed to traverse an open savanna. Our findings demonstrate that effectively navigating the canopy remains crucial for a large, semi-arboreal ape, even in open environments, foraging under challenging conditions. During the dry season, the Isa chimpanzees shift their attention to woodland resources, particularly fruits, seeds, and even a parasitic flower known as pilostyles that grows on the ends of branches. To gather these food items, the chimps must navigate carefully through trees that are sparse, with fewer branches and more open spaces between them. The researchers conducted measurements on over 200 trees and analyzed 301 foraging instances. They discovered that chimps spent more time foraging in larger trees that provided plentiful food and had open crown shapes resembling umbrellas or inverted cones. Key findings include extended foraging durations were associated with trees that had abundant food and larger trunks. Chimps exhibited suspensory behaviors, hanging beneath branches, particularly in trees with open crowns. Longer foraging sessions were linked to unripe fruits and seeds that were difficult to process. Suspension was more prevalent in umbrella-shaped trees, even in areas with sparse vegetation. These behaviors challenge the notion that early hominins abandoned trees solely due to the disappearance of forests. Instead, it appears that tree-based foraging remained essential, even in more open habitats, potentially influencing natural selection to favor climbing adaptations. Insights into human evolution. The study's results align with increasing fossil evidence suggesting that early bipedal hominins, such as Ardipithecus and Australopithecus, retained characteristics suited for tree climbing, including curved fingers, elongated arms, and robust shoulders. While fossils alone cannot reveal behaviors, these living chimpanzees may provide valuable insights into how a semi-terrestrial ape thrived in a landscape that included both trees and grass. Dr. Drummond-Clarke adds, if we consider Isa Valley chimpanzees as appropriate models, then suspensory and bipedal behaviors were likely crucial for the survival of a large-bodied, fruit-eating, semi-terrestrial hominin in an open habitat. A singular perspective, despite the compelling nature of the findings. The authors of the study acknowledge certain limitations. The data were collected from a single chimpanzee community during the dry season. Further research is necessary to determine whether other chimpanzee populations living in savannas exhibit similar behaviors throughout the year and to gain a deeper understanding of how food availability and tree types influence climbing behavior. Nevertheless, the takeaway is clear. To access the best resources in the treetops, one must possess the necessary skills, and that includes movements strikingly similar to those of humans. Journal: Frontiers in Ecology and Evolution. Dewey, 10.3389, FFevo, 2025-1561-078. If you found this information enlightening or inspiring, please consider supporting our work with a donation. Every contribution, regardless of size, helps us continue to provide accurate, engaging, and reliable science and medical news. Independent journalism requires significant time, effort, and resources. Your support ensures we can keep uncovering the stories that matter most to you. Join us in making knowledge accessible and impactful. Thank you for your support.